What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie. He is over at the Montreal Gazette. So, Jim, you had a chance to hear Justin Trudeau just after 2 o'clock this afternoon. Give me a quick take.
A far more polished, far more conversational interview than was offered by Pierre Poilievre this morning. All that said, I think both interviews contained relatively the same amount of BS. It was a bit jarring to hear Justin Trudeau pretend that, he has always been concerned about minority and individual rights. He's concerned about minority and individual rights, specifically, Aaron, this terrible thing that the Legault government is doing to Anglophones when it comes to medical care. He's doing this because there's a by-election on Monday, and 20% of the electorate are Anglophones. And like his MPs, a couple of MPs over the past 2 weeks, they suddenly woke up to the fact that, hey, this is a big deal. This could have an effect on the Canada Health Act. So we're going to make a lot of noise, even though we've made zero noise ever about Bill 96. In fact, it has been party policy to zip our mouths closed. However, I think the money quote from Justin Trudeau this afternoon was one he was talking about. He was, going after Jagmeet Singh about how he doesn't care about the environment, and that's why he tore up the agreement he had to support the Trudeau Liberals. And it was right there. He goes, I think the people in Verdun care a lot about the environment. So clearly, to a certain extent, this appearance, as fun as it was, and my congratulations on a very good get. The fact of the matter is, he knows his party's in trouble on Monday. And as for his, I'm sticking around, you may not have that choice if you lose Verdun, Amard, LaSalle on Monday. So let's be clear here. But yeah, I don't know how. Is it a happy coincidence you got Poilievre? Did Poilievre hear that Trudeau was going to be on, and he decided to come on as well? I didn't get the impression from Poilievre at all, and it's a shorter interview. It was almost as if, in my opinion, it sounded as if someone had taught his website how to talk. Cookie cutter responses and recipe card responses. I would love to have heard. I wish he had been asked, why is it when the polls say you are blowing off the doors everywhere else in the country, you can't seem to make any headway in Quebec? Although, frankly, I think that if it happens, Pierre Poilievre does become prime minister with majority government, nobody in Quebec will be hearing from him at all, because his policy will be the same as Justin Trudeau, which is to leave the Premier of Quebec, no matter who the Premier of Quebec is, the hell alone, because it's not my problem, not my business. I don't need this. But yeah, I found it a bit galling to listen to Justin Trudeau suddenly find Jesus and say, I care about individual rights and minority rights. There are a lot of people in this town, in this province, who speak one of this country's official languages, who would give you a very, very different story on that indeed.
So we had a development today, Jim, right, where the NDP, last week it was the supply confidence agreement got ripped up, and today they suddenly said, you know what, this carbon tax thing, we're kind of with the Conservatives on this. We think that should go too. I'm kind of wondering where this goes. Every couple of days there's another announcement. Are you starting?
Aaron, just put on your hazmat suit, because frankly there's going to be so much BS flying around in Ottawa between now and the next election. The fact is, Jagmeet Singh can posture all he wants. Even if he does vote against the government, the Bloc will support the Liberals. They don't want an election right now, okay? So I think to a certain extent, perhaps Jagmeet Singh is trying to save some face here, but the fact of the matter is, no. There is going to be no, the government is not going to fall, and if Jagmeet Singh wants to turn around and say, I'll support the Conservatives. And plus, remember, when you say it out loud, head of the NDP says he is going to support the Conservatives on a climate change issue. I don't think that's going to be helping you out in the next election at all, bud. So you know what? I doubt that's going to happen.
Do you think the Bloc has basically said, scratch our back and we'll scratch yours? What does that even mean? What kind of deal
is? Is what they'll always do. When you saw some of the demands, because it wasn't, a set up border crossings at between Quebec and Ontario, it was improved federal benefits for seniors. The stuff, the mom and apple pie stuff that keeps a federal party up in the polls, but there's nothing radical. Okay. And don't forget, Yves-François Blanchet is in a bit of a bind right now Does he take his marching orders from Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, the PQ, or Francois Legault of the CAQ? Because quite frankly, it's tough to say who's going to wind up running the joint and whether or not sovereignty, which is the avowed aim of the Bloc Québécois, is going to be a good fit with even, PSPP's interpretation, or certainly Francois Legault's policies when it comes to saying, no, we want to milk Confederation for all we can, but God forbid we have another referendum.
So we move on from that to Amira El-Gawabi today. I'm trying to wonder what's going on here, and I know that when it comes specifically to Quebec, there's a call, for her to basically step down. So for people who don't know, she's Canada's special representative on combating Islamophobia, and instead suggests that that universities go out and specifically hire Muslim professors?
To universities and colleges and urge them to hire more Muslim, Arab, or Palestinian professors in order to provide, to be more reflective of the people who are in fact attending these institutions. And in fact, her recommendation apparently echoes one that was made by a judge who was examining the U of T occupation. That said, Pascal Derry, the Quebec Minister of Higher Education, just completely blew a gasket, went on to TVA, and said this is unacceptable. This is, and the commentators over at Québécois now, this woman's got to go. She keeps spitting on Quebec. Well, this is more cheap drama, Aaron. The fact of the matter is, Francois Legault's CAQ and their cheerleaders over at Québécois are absolutely bowel-wateringly terrified of what's going to happen next week, because we have people who are leaving the, MNAs who are leaving the CAQ in disgust. Chances are the next poll are going to have the party back down again. Because why? Because they are appealing to absolutely no one. So, the buddies, the friends of the party over at Québécois are doing their best to turn this into a major issue. Because why? Because when the CAQ can't do anything, when the CAQ gets exposed as basically a listless, incompetent populist movement, what do? They do what they do best. They pick on someone, they find someone to attack, and they attack the hell out of him or her. And we're seeing that today. I really don't think that Ottawa is going to pay any attention to this. And in fact, given the last time they went after about this column in 2019, where she said, and rather unfairly, I think, that Quebecers seem influenced by Islamophobia. I think this is such a minor issue that it's clear with the operatic reply from Francois Legault's cabinet and his friends over at Québécois that, yes, indeed, they are in absolute trouble. They want to change the channel, and they want to change it quickly.
All right, last thing real quick, Eric Duhaime. I guess the question we asked was a day ago, Yuri Chassin, who quit the CAQ, why didn't you go to the Conservatives? Well, when you suggest he's in full-blown recruitment mode, what do we mean here? I
suggest, I'm telling you that he said he's in full-blown, he was interviewed. He sent a letter out, the open letter to CAQ. He knows, as Francois Legault admitted, there are people in the caucus who feel the same way as Monsieur Chassin. They're dissatisfied or whatever. And I got to tell you, Aaron, if there is an award for persistence, for being an absolute digger, Eric Duhaime deserves to win it. He has proved himself very determined. He could have just thrown up his hands and said, listen, I don't have it in the National Assembly, but he never stops. He is going after the disaffected. I don't think he cares whether they're PECs or CAQ members or even Liberals. He'll take what he can get, and he never, ever stops. And you know what's crazy, though, is given the, how can I put it, rather delicate situation right now that exists between Francois Legault and his caucus, he may be onto something. He may be casting his nets in the near future and perhaps hauling in a little more than he has before.
All right. I'm trying to understand this, Jim. Eric Duhaime, who every time he comes on the air here on CJD, leaves with people, texting in, calling and saying, guy sounds, pretty good. I like what he has to say. And I wonder if that ever changes or what the future actually holds for him.
Well, he got screwed over by our voting system, right? He got 12% of the vote, which is a very respectable amount, and he didn't get a single seat.
Yeah.
In the National Assembly because of the way our archaic and quite frankly stacked voting system works. So you know what he's trying to do? I mean, he realized, he's admitted it. He knows there are people out there who may have made a mistake by hitching their star to the CAQ. And don't forget, if you want to continue in politics over the next 2 years, you might want to rethink your affiliation with the CAQ, unless those numbers go up, which I doubt they will. So perhaps, hopping onto another bandwagon, a conservative bandwagon, one that reflects more your values. And let's face it, even Mr. Chassin said before he announced his departure, he called Eric Duhaime and said, "Listen, I'm not coming over, so don't bother. I just want you to understand you're not going to be a part of this." Because everyone knows that this is what the head of the Tory party has his eye on. But yeah, I got to tell you, keep your eye on Eric Duhaime. He's very, very determined. And right now, he strikes me as being perhaps the most determined politician in Quebec compared with some of the people he's up against.
James Mennie at the Montreal Gazette. Jim, thank you. Have a great weekend.